What's going on, y'all? Um, I had a question come in. How do I rebuild my wife's respect and attraction after losing it? Um, this is a good question. And as I was answering the question, I started thinking through what is disrespect, because that could be subjective to um, each married couple out there. What some guys consider disrespect, other guys would be perfectly fine with. What some wives consider disrespect to their husband, some wives would call their husband insecure about it. So I wanted to dive into just exactly how I was defining it before I got into answering the question. Um, and again, this is subjective. You may not agree with me, but this is what I would consider disrespect in a marriage. All right. So many of you have probably heard of Wild 'N Out. If not, it's a show that Nick Cannon, I believe he owns the show. Not only hosts it, but also owns it. But on the show, he has some comedians come on, and sometimes they're the same ones. They do improv to see what's the funniest. And each week, there's different celebrities. The episode that I want to talk about is the episode that Chrissy Teigen was on. And if you've seen the episode, you know exactly where I'm going with this. But if you don't know, Chrissy Teigen is John Legend's wife. And what she did during this episode, again, subjective. I don't care if you agree with me or not, but it was pretty disrespectful. So first off, these are some screenshots from the episode. As you can see, she has on like a onesie situation and a robe that's not really a robe. But anyway, more important than that is kind of the faces she making, where her hands are at. So if you watch this without the sound on, you're gonna think something sexual is going on. But what she's doing, she's trying to make Mike Strahan, who is in front of her, Mike Strahan, former football player, he's sitting there right in front of her. You can see his back. She's trying to make him laugh. And so she's pretending that her crotch is real itchy and she scratched it. This isn't even the bad part. This is just me warming you up to the episode and what's going on. But you can see, again, you go on YouTube, Google, whatever, you can easily find this clip somewhere. And again, if you watch this on with the volume off, you're gonna think something sexual is going on. But again, not the bad part. Here's where we start getting to the bad part. So that right there is Carlos. He's one of the funnier guys on the show. And you can see where he's pointing, right? He comes up and he makes a joke about her camel toe. All right. So just as a husband, right, I want you to think about a man just walking up and talking about your wife's camel toe. You know what I mean? Again, some guys don't think that's disrespect. I'm not those some guys. That's very disrespectful. But it's about how she responds to it. So instead of like saying like, "Hey, don't do that," or seeming like she was offended by it, nothing like that. Instead, she like grabs him from behind, puts her arms around him, and to the point where he's like, "Well, you better not start nothing." It's kind of like a joke he makes, and then she lets him go, and you can see where his hand is at. You can see, and the face that she's making isn't like, "Whoa, what are you doing?" It's more like, "Oh, oh my gosh." It's like a playful kind of thing. Like it's playful for him to be touching in that area. And then it gets worse. He picks her up and then he makes a joke. He calls out John Legend specifically. He said, "I'm about to take your wife backstage and smash," basically. And she thinks that's funny too. He laughs and carries her off backstage. All right. So again, subjective. I saw some of the comments in this clip, and some people was like, "Hey, you guys are just unhappy with your life. She's just having fun." Cool. What works for some couples works for some couples. Um, for myself, I consider this disrespect. So this is what I'm referring to when I say something like, a wife being disrespectful to her husband. It's not so much the arguing and yelling. That stuff shouldn't be happening anyway. Um, the disrespect that I'm more focused on is related to, respecting you as her husband, um, not putting herself in situations like this. So just to call out some of the things explicitly, I know we went over a few of them just in that one episode, but if she's flirting with other guys in front of you, um, which if that's happening, I'll do a separate video on that specifically. Usually that's happening because she wants you to kind of man up. She wants you to, you've been too soft with her and she's trying to force you to be a man. She's basically poking at your insecurity when she does that. She doesn't even have to want the guy. It could not even be about the guy. But if she's doing that, she really wants you to man up. The other ones here are worse. So believe it or not. So if she's laughing at jokes that guys are making about you, or if she's clowning you in front of other people or behind your back, that is highly disrespectful. The relationship, if she's doing these things, you can set your watch. The relationship might be coming to an end pretty soon. If you're married, she might be throwing around, moving out, talking about moving out or what a separation looks like. This is the lowest point you could reach. This is worse than her flirting with other guys in front of you. All right. Another thing that's going to happen: sex frequency. You're not going to have much sex. You will always have to initiate that sex, and sometimes when you initiate, she's going to say things like, "Oh, we just had sex on Tuesday," or "We just had sex a couple of days ago," or "Why do we always have to have sex?" She's going to start saying stuff like that, and she's definitely going to make a pattern of rejecting you. All right, and to the point where you probably won't even try having sex with her anymore. All right, so before we get into how do you fix this nonsense in a marriage, nobody wants to be going through this. We have to first talk about how this happens. How do you even get into the situation to begin with? So, in working with guys over the years, I've been able to kind of classify these situations into four main models. I call them the four